Welcome to the Your Next Move podcast with Kimberly Brown. We are going to talk about a topic today that is so common: hating your job. I feel like in this day and age, when people hate their job, they're like, "Oh, I need to start a business because entrepreneurship is hot, it's sexy." But let me tell you something. Entrepreneurship is harder than having a job. If that's what you want to do, go for it. Live your best life. But if you know you're not looking to start a business and you're just frustrated and really not liking your job, I have some tips that I want to walk through with you. So number one, we need to get to the bottom of why you're frustrated. I had another episode on career plateaus, and sometimes we can just not like where we are. But is it you don't like your role? Do you not like the company? Do you not like your boss? Do you not like your team? What is it that has you frustrated? Because it can be a multitude of things, and we don't want you running to the next thing, just hoping that the grass is greener on the other side. I've done a workshop before where I talk about career progression. And many times with career progression, we look at it and we want it to be a ladder, right? You just keep on going up and up and up. You want to see coordinator, analyst, manager, director, VP, senior VP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But many times I've seen with professionals that it may be coordinator, analyst, or whatever job title it is. And you keep skipping to different companies, but not actually dealing with the root of the problem, because the grass always looks greener on the other side. We need to understand exactly why you are frustrated before moving to the next thing. And also understand your gaps. Is it a gap in knowledge, experience, skills, or is it simply just not the right place for you right here, right now? So next up, we need to talk about your work environment. I used to say that we need to consider a flexible work environment, but due to COVID, so many people are virtual now. They're in the office 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever it is. But is the work environment that you're in what you'd like to be in? Maybe you are in a flexible work arrangement, but you really prefer to be in the office 5 days a week. Or maybe you're in the office 2 days and you're like, I want to be home 5 days. What is the work arrangement that would work best for you? And is it possible for you to pitch that? Many times when you go into the employee handbook, you can see different types of arrangements that are allowed by the company. What works for you? Because again, if we're spending 40 plus hours a week in the office and we don't like it, it's very hard to have a robust life, to be happy every single day when you're looking at your job and you're not even liking where you are. You're not even liking the environment. And when we talk about the environment, I also want you to think about the culture of the organization. What does the hierarchy structure look like? What does your team look like? How do people speak to each other? What is the environment and the conversations that are being had? What are the cultural norms in your organization? That is also a part of the environment. Is that something that is conducive to who you are and where you are today? Next up, I want you to consider immersing yourself in a professional community. If you're watching me on YouTube, I had to start smiling because professional communities have been pivotal to my success, right along with networking, which for me has happened in professional communities. So think about the organizations that are tied to your industry. It's very easy to say National Association of and add whatever industry at the end. And there are so many communities that you can get involved in, whether it's simply attending events or even running for office. Maybe you want to be a treasurer or VP or president of one of the local or regional chapters for one of these organizations. It is a great way to give you a boost in your career. Not only are you learning about your industry, but you're also networking and communicating with like-minded professionals who can help expedite success in your career, or also just give you the much needed information to help you do your job better. I can't recall how many countless times I've been in a professional association and someone has been able to help me literally do my job better by looking at a problem differently, or hearing about how they're approaching things at work and knowing that I can apply that to my current situation. When you're hating your job, sometimes it could be a feeling that you're stuck, like you're beating up against a brick wall because you can't overcome whatever that is. When you're in a professional association, that person or the organization can help you really navigate just a little bit more, or at least inspire you to approach your work situation a little bit different. So next up, I want you to think about volunteering for a project that may help you. Now, you may be thinking like, Kim, I ain't trying to do no more work. Like, why am I going to go on a project? But I want you to consider, when we talked earlier about role progression, and that person who's analyst, and substitute that for whatever your role or title is. Many times there may be a gap in experience that you need to close. And when you are exposed to a new project, it is the best way to get hands-on experience. Many times people want to jump, but I talk a lot about maximizing your role. Now, that's different from maximizing your skills, which we've talked about in other podcasts. I mean getting everything you can out of your current job. What things can you get from them? What skills, what experiences, what membership fees to professional associations, what conferences can you go to? What projects can you get on? What groups can you join? How can you maximize your work every single day? That is crucial to your success. I say, if like you are someplace right here, right now, why not do all the things while you're there? Because when you move to another organization, you're going to have to start from the ground up again, build relationships, build rapport, figure out what it is that you need to do, what you want to do, and how the organization works. And that takes time. Use what you've got right now, because the other side, I'll tell you, you already know your company is going to work you. They're not giving you any less work because you hate your job. They're not giving you any less responsibilities. You are expected to still work and contribute at a high level. So why not make sure you're getting what you need out of the organization? So last but not least, this may be something simple, but taking breaks during your workday. So many times we work all day and have never taken a break. I personally don't smoke cigarettes, but the analogy that I always give is someone who smokes cigarettes takes little breaks throughout the day to go smoke. In the morning, in the afternoon, middle of the day, to go smoke a cigarette. Now, I have nothing against anyone who smokes cigarettes, but if you compare that to someone who doesn't smoke cigarettes, they may take less breaks throughout the day because they're not going to take a smoke break. So I personally go take coffee breaks. I take a walk around the office. I go to my kitchen and grab something if I'm working remotely. Take your breaks, and not just your full lunch break, because you need to do that. Take your full lunch break. But you also need to take other little breaks. In a other episode, we talked about the Pomodoro technique, which is doing little work sprints. When you do work sprints, take a walk. Do whatever it is to clear your mind. When you've been so laser focused on something, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and start feeling like you don't want to be in that situation anymore. It can be very frustrating. So take little breaks for yourself so you can reinvigorate yourself to go back and attack your work every single day. Work breaks are pivotal. And a little tip I'll give you, before, when I was in the office, I remember I would literally sit on the opposite side of my desk. I would no longer sit facing my computer. I would sit like it was someone visiting me in the office. I would change where I was sitting to make sure that I wasn't just eating and working. Do whatever you need to do to literally take a break, mentally, physically, emotionally, from everything. For that may look different for everyone, but I encourage you, when you're feeling worn out, when you're not liking your job, use some of these tips to see if it can re-spark your personal creativity and just your work environment overall. So to recap, let's go from the top. Get to the bottom of why you're frustrated. What is going on that makes you frustrated with your job? Because we can't fix anything if we don't know the root of the problem. Number 2, think about your work environment, not just the actual physical environment, but also the culture. What is going on? Number 3, immerse yourself in a professional community. Again, this is probably my favorite of all the tips that I'm giving y'all today. Number 4, volunteer for a project that helps you, allows you to maximize your experience in the job every single day. And last but not least, make sure you are taking those breaks. You have to unplug. When you don't unplug, sometimes it's just way too much stress all the time in these jobs. In most of my corporate jobs, I definitely work more than 40 hours a week. 100%. I was most of the time pushing 60, if not more than that, especially when I was traveling. When you're working in a high-paced environment like that, you need to take breaks. And even if you get to work a 35-hour work week, you still need to take breaks. Sitting at the computer for 7 to 8 hours straight is too much. Get up, walk around. Whether you're a smoker or not, take your smoke break and go grab some coffee, walk around the block, do what you need to do to reinvigorate yourself. So with that, I'm not saying that I'm hoping that you'll start loving your job again, but I'm hoping that you can help yourself build a plan and understand why you're not loving your job so you can make changes to change your situation right here, right now, before you make your next move. So with that, may your next move be your very best move. And I look forward to talking to y'all soon. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to the Your Next Move podcast. Don't forget to share this episode with a colleague or friend so we can all level up together. If you enjoyed today's episode, please write a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And lastly, if you're looking to join a community of thriving professionals, I invite you to join the Next Move Best Move community, my private community of professionals that includes the Manifest Yourself signature leadership development courses, monthly lunch and learns, and more. For more information, please go to kimberlybeonline.com/community. Until next week, remember to make your next move your very best move.